My name is Jan Buley. I'm a faculty member at Memorial University in the Faculty of Education. And I'm very privileged to teach literacy, elementary literacy and drama education to student teachers there at Memorial University in beautiful St. John's. How does Turtle Island connect to me, and how did that happen? I'm here again, very humbled and privileged to be in the company of wonderful teachers, many of whom are under a meter high. The best teachers on the planet, I always think, are the young people that walk the earth. In May, when we moved here from Northern Ontario, I happened to be walking along the sidewalk, and the sticker letters for Turtle Island Daycare were just being put up, a temporary sign. They had just opened. And I was very involved with many storytelling programs in daycares and First Nations communities when I taught at Laurentian University, and it caught my eye. And I came home. It was a very hot day in May. And I remember thinking, I'm going to go and knock on the door. And I did. And I was so warmly welcomed by Debbie, and explained to Debbie and then Stacy House from the Native Friendship Centre here my dream to offer an arts-based program of storytelling and singing, something I love to do. So we tested it out and it was a hit. So I'm here. I'm a lifer. If you asked Marcus, a little guy upstairs, I guess it's singing and storytelling with Mrs. B. I'm known as Mrs. B here, so
sweet. It's
not too formal. I'm here to learn with and from the daycare crowd. However, a wonderful thing that has happened in conjunction with my work at MUN, Susan, has been an opportunity to bring student teachers here. So I have, over the short time that I've been teaching at MUN, we have visited 5 times, I guess, with student teachers who have made, one of the goals in the literacy course that I teach has been to create a picture book that would really capture the interest of perhaps an Innu child, First Nations child, a Métis child. So it's been a really neat broadening of horizons for student teachers to think about what's on your bookshelf in a classroom setting and what isn't there, and what are we going to do about that. In addition, I approached a grade 4 teacher at St. Bon's College here in the city, and we ended up doing a wonderful book of legends together. The grade 4s came here and invited some artwork to happen with the little guys in the daycare. They then took the artwork back to St. Bon's and wrote stories about the artwork that the kids had done, and then they came back again together. They co-edited a story together and ended up making a booklet together. And each school, the daycare, has a copy of that book, and so does St. Bon's. And likewise, many of the students from MUN made double copies of their picture books and donated them here. So some pretty cool baby steps into some much needed work around ally work. So that's a kind of a long answer to what do I do. I'm a guide on the side. I don't take big credit for it. I just invite things to unfold, and sometimes magical things happen. Yeah. When I visit, I try to be very respectful of the needs of the kids. Sometimes they want to sing the water song, and sometimes I was very involved with a drum circle in Sudbury. Actually, it was a family community drum circle with little kids as young as 3 and very elderly members who would come together. There were about 20 of us that would gather at a community center, and from that I learned a lot of drum circle songs. So I've brought some of those with me here, but have also been very responsive to the songs that the kids want to know. Every kid wants to sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and occasionally we will Google a word in the Mi'kmaq language or the Innu language and incorporate that in, and that's been fun to try to do. Certainly the storytelling pieces are very open-ended, and so although I will tell a story about a little bear that got lost in the snow, it's fun to let the kids take the lead on those. And I'm excited to be launching a more formalized research project with the staff here and with Debbie around the power of finger puppets in eliciting some oral tradition, oral storytelling perhaps. We don't know what's going to happen. It's very much a action-based research, qualitative. We'll see what happens. We're doing it together. I want to say one that comes from within the community that it is couched in. Most importantly, I'm thinking of the wonderful work that happens in Tsikeng First Nations on Manitoulin Island, where the school, as this place, sings of the beauty of the culture of the Anishinaabeg people. So the hallways are filled with art, as this place is. The beauty and the culture and the beliefs are loud and clear. I think success in schools at the moment, we've got so much work to do in simple things and not so simple things like furniture, round tables and circles and spaces to be where you can look eye to eye with a class. We have so far to go in thinking through places and spaces that welcome all people. And I think there's a misconception in many places of learning that schools that circles can't be places where academic discussions can happen and where powerful learning can happen. And I can't begin to name the number of ways that I would flip that. And I think I'm also reflecting on a very dear colleague, Charla Pelletier, who is now at University of Alberta, whose thesis, I was very honored to be part of her journey, but she really analyzed the importance of the Indigenous worldview being celebrated in all aspects of education. Get outside. It's what I love about this place. Go and see what the river has to say to us today out at Rennie's River. Go and watch a tree and listen to the wind. And I think we've become so caught up in making things happen only inside cinder block walls and inside classrooms, when there's so much to learn in going outside and being outside. Beginning with conversations with places like the friendship centers that are abundant in our country. I think there's a preconception, Susan, that St. John's Native Friendship Center is only for those people, but how wrong that is. It's a most welcoming place. I was there last Thursday with a big group of student teachers, 32 of them, for a teaching day with Becca and Stacy, and for 30 of the students. It was their first time going in there, and I know that at the beginning of the presentation I chatted with some of them, and they were saying how beautiful and welcoming, and it's a gorgeous facility, bursting at the seams, and I know they're hoping to find a new spot there. But those conversations are so necessary. We need to reach out and ask courageous questions and invite elders to come, talk to people about what we can do as allies, as a person very interested I'm a settler. I'm aware of the tragedy of so much of what has been done to Indigenous peoples, and we've got so much work to do. But it has to start with conversations. It has to start with listening. Julie Oshawagish, who was an elder at our university, said, "You're given 2 eyes and 1 mouth for a reason, and 2 ears," right? 1 mouth, 2 eyes, 2 ears, to listen and see and notice and then talk.